We are live.
And the room is full of ghosts, and we're just, are we recording? Making sure.
We're live.
We're
recording
live,
wherever.
okay. So we're just gonna wait a moment till it's exactly 7 o'clock, so we get everybody on board. If you want to email Brian or I, during the production here tonight, you're welcome to do so. If you have questions, I'm going to be uploading another video tomorrow that's more in the normal way we do these. So greetings to everybody. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Welcome to Moonstar Lodge. Welcome to our winter solstice event. I'm Catherine Gorman Lovelady, and we have with us our Elder Del Haskell, and Brian will join us in the shot in a moment to open the circle. And I'm going to ask him to go ahead and do that.
Waboon, Eagle, Spirit Keeper of the East, we call you into this circle, bringing the energies of morning, of birth, of new beginnings. We call Beaver, Spirit Helper of the Southeast, bring the strength and solidity of home and family, and the admirable trait of dogged determination without complaint. Jean Odes, a Coyote Trickster, Spirit Keeper of the South, we call you into this circle, bringing the warmth of the noonday sun, the energies of the growing season, and the young adult years. We call Crow, Spirit Helper of the Southwest, bring the magic and healing of the shaman into this circle. Muchikewis, Grizzly Bear, Spirit Keeper of the West, we call you into this circle, bringing the abundance of harvest, the evening time, the wisdom of the mature adult years. We call Snake, Spirit Helper of the Northwest, as the snake bites its own tail and completes the circle, so the union of male and female energies completes the circle. Waboos, Great White Buffalo, Spirit Keeper of the North, we call you into this circle from the dream time, the snows of winter. We call Otter, Spirit Helper of the Northeast. With its ease of movement between water and land, may we also experience that same ease of movement as we transcend from the end of each cycle in the north to the beginning of each new cycle in the east. Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon, Father Sky, Turtle Mother Earth, all our relations, our brothers and sisters, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the crawlers, the swimmers, the flyers, the plant people, the standing people, the stone people, the sky people. We invite our ancestors, we invite the Creator. Mina Dontawe Namikamos, Mina Dontawe Nokamas, Chimigwech, Yahweh. No, you go, just go ahead and do it. The circle is open.
No, Rich. We're so delighted that you can be with us. This is groundbreaking for us. I'm too much of a Luddite to do live streaming, and thankfully Brian isn't. We were able to get some equipment through the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada, and this has been just an amazing opportunity. It allows us to reach out and connect with our community at large in this time of the gray level restriction of lockdown to COVID. We're going to all speak to you about this time, this incredible solstice. Normally we would all be at this point in an evening, at least for the past 50 years in my home. We would have been having a big feast and making bundles and speaking our piece and using the talking stick and exchanging gifts. And so this is the first time in my entire 63 years it's happened this way. And that's just fine. We need to know that things never stay the same and that we evolve and grow, and we can make the best of all situations that come our way. And that's the mindset, actually, that Solstice asks us to adopt. It is a time when we are meant, as the sun and the moon. Today the sun has risen, but it's a still point. We are at 0 degrees of Aquarius. We've had this most incredible conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter for the first time since the early 1400s. And there's a number of things going on here, and if you follow our videos regularly and saw the one the other day, the one for the 14th of December talked about that as the closest new moon to equinox or to solstice. I'll get my marbles out of my mouth yet here. So the 14th of December was the first day of the first moon cycle of this coming year. So that was our New Year's Day, and I wished you all a Happy New Year's on that day. This is solstice is traditionally our new year, and it is the longest dark, the least light, and as of tomorrow and the days after, the light begins to grow. In terms of traditional teachings, a lot of Indigenous communities have used this time. You can't be out, you can't grow your crops, you don't have animals grazing to look after, so consequently it's a time to go in and stay warm and safe and talk with relations. We gather, and that's the name of this moon cycle. The grandmother of this moon cycle is Talks with Relations. This moon cycle is called Snow and Blizzard Moon, but the grandmother, the one who shapeshifts between the moon and an owl and an elderly woman, that's her name. So a number of Indigenous groups across Turtle Island talk about this time as telling stories. And I read a comment from a grandmother the other night that said, we wait till it is snow and blizzard moon to talk about the animals because we want them to be asleep and hibernating. We don't want them to think we're talking badly about them. So I got a chuckle out of that. But this is a time for stillness and on an individual level, for introspection, and for looking at the seed that we plant. And this is very much a seed for this new time. life doesn't change until we've hit bottom. We make choices for change. And this year of 2020 was a big, big opportunity for change. So we need to choose what we manifest. And manifest is one of those words that gets overused. And the concept isn't exactly understood. We're not trying to manifest the best, latest model of car and manifest riches and a bigger home and a sexier partner. That's not the kind of prosperity we're talking about here. We're talking about looking at bringing the wholeness to the self. We can't change the world in the bigger picture until we change what we want to bring through. And that prosperity we bring comes in the form of manifesting our true selfhood. And it's our true selfhood in service to the greater good. That's a hard concept for some people. They think that sounds like self-sacrifice and that you're the general grotty dog's body and a pack animal kind of mentality, but it isn't. The Japanese have a word for this. It's ikigai. And ikigai is a concept that talks about both spiritual and to some degree emotional maturity. And it's about recognizing the why of what we do, doing what we do. Do we do it because it makes us happy? Because in fulfilling self and in bringing our joy and our creative aspect into the world, we make it a better place. And that's on an individual basis. So when we've talked about the wheel and we've talked about the individual, the family, the community, and the nation, we look at this time, this seed we've planted isn't external to us, it's internal. The seed of coming to terms with who we are and what we're growing. It's a time to connect with ancestors. It's a time, I wouldn't call it meditative, I would call it contemplative and prayerful in terms of a dialogue with the all that is and the Creator. Ours is a shamanic culture, and we know from the movement between the tonal and the nagual that what we seek when we move through the dimensions has to be a seed thought to begin with. So the Chumash Indians talked about imaginal visioning. It's a visioning with purpose and a clarity, and that clarity only comes from the stillness of this time of year. And I've told this in our gatherings before, but it bears repeating. When my sister Judy, my late sister Judy, and I were small, my dad would take us up for walks on solstice night. And if you're from Guelph, you'll know what I'm talking about. We went way north on Victoria Road, where we lived, to Monkey's Bridge, and just beyond Monkey's Bridge, in the place that was later, I want to use the word sacrificed, but turned into Guelph Lake. And Dad would take us into the bush, and he'd look for great big evergreens, pines and cedar trees, and particularly the pines. And he'd have us look between the branches, because when you're little girls and you're looking up, you would see the stars twinkling between the branches as if the stars were sitting on the branches. And that's what he did on winter solstice night, because he would tell us that's the ancestors. That's the ancestors coming to spend the longest time. They're always there, Those stars are there in the daytime, but we can't see them. But winter solstice is the time to see them and to get still with them. And my dad was very good at calling animals. He would make very interesting little chirping sounds, and the birds would come, and Jude and I would laugh when the birds would land on his head and the deer would come. And after the war, he used to go hunting, but then he stopped because some of his friends were utilizing his gift just to call animals for the kill. Now, he had a relationship with the animals because of his sense of the beauty of all life. So when we have the ancestors on this night, some of the rituals that you might want to consider for solstice include lighting a candle and writing out everything you're thankful for. And we have things to be grateful for in 2020. The cleaning of the water and the clearing of the air. And we need to be thankful that we've been given a time for contemplation. It won't always look this way, but we have this opportunity. Write it out, and one side is everything you're thankful for in the past. The other side is the beginning, the seed thoughts of that which, like the ikigai, you want to manifest for yourself in 2021, and the why. Why do you want to do that? When you make art, why do you love it? If you play the piano, what calls to your soul when you do that? When you work with animals, whatever it is that you do. So in finding our wholeness, finding our purpose, that's what helps us. Writing down the seed thought. I'd like to turn it over to our elder, Del Haskell, and ask him for his perspectives. We've pulled cards. Brian will speak in a few minutes. We'll get back to some of the other teachings, but I pulled cards. There we go. So, Del?
In the community of peoples, normally it was this time of year when the elders would record the major events of the community, and also the development of new ceremonies and song for the people. Also, it was a time when the elders would be teaching the children, because it was an oral tradition, would teach the children the stories of the people and the legends of the people. Within those stories, of course, were the beliefs and the structure of the community that was being taught to the children, and also to give them a sense of belonging to the community and to give them a feeling of strength as belonging to the community and their part with nature. And of course, then watching these children grow and become part of the community. And because of the cold weather, as Catherine said, it was a gathering of the people and a time for people to join together and to share their stories and to get together and just annoy each other in the community and to enjoy basically the brotherhood of all the people and the love that they had for each other and the way that they helped each other, which was necessary for their survival. It was a time for gift giving, both as material and also as the love and the feelings towards each other. It also was a time when the people looked to the sun because it was the lowest in the sky and had the longest shadow, and they knew at this time that from that point on there would be more light in the day as each day grew towards spring. And it was a time for rejoicing because the ancient, when the people thought the sun was leaving, they would have a drumming ceremony and songs in order to welcome the sun back. And of course, when his son come back, it was a time for joy and for the fact that life again would be plentiful on the earth and everything would be green.
Brian, did you wish to speak to this? You can wheel your chair over.
I could, I was lazy. I wanted to express gratitude to not only my lovely wife, but also, she mentioned earlier, we did get some funding from Indigenous Tourism of Ontario via, I believe it was at least the provincial, if not the federal government, which has allowed us to purchase video equipment and lighting to allow us to do more of these videos, teaching tarot reading and so on. So it has been a challenging learning curve for my aging brain cells to cope with all the new technology involved, but I think I'm treading water at least, if not getting ahead of the game. So hopefully we will in the new year have more videos. We're looking into ways of getting some of the courses, at least some of them, online, and 2021 will be a year to look forward to.
And thoughts about solstice?
Thoughts about solstice. Well, I think the one that means the most to me is that it's the time of the longest night, which means it's the time of introspection, contemplation, planning, doing some of the things. In the past, of course, as Catherine's already said, we didn't have lights burning till midnight or beyond. When the sun went down, we went to bed or did something by the fire. So it's a time to think about where we've come from, where we are now, and where we're going. And I like that. To you.
I appreciate Dell's concept of the longest shadow, that tweaked a remembrance on my part that this is the time of, I don't like the term confronting shadow, because shadow is us. We love it. We need to love the shadow, and that takes the negative energy away from it. But it's very much looking inward, and if that's shadow work, so be it. This particular moon cycle, I was just reviewing here the crystals that are appropriate, and we've got the amethyst, lavender quartz, malachite occasionally, but rainbow fluorite, the blue-green purple fluorite, because this time is about feeling through the mind and thinking through the heart, and that's particularly the rainbow or blue-green purple fluorite. Lepidolite is in that group. These are all cranial chakras for the upper chakra points. And why would we use them? Well, we use them to facilitate lucid dreaming, dreaming with the wheel. As Brian said, you know, in the old days we used to go to bed when the sun went down. Well, you'd be going to bed at 4:30 today, give or take, and sleeping until, 8 tomorrow morning. But it is about dreaming, and it is about facilitating that connection with Source. Call it what you will. The great consciousness that exists in this cosmos. Even Michio Kaku spoke the other day. I was listening to a physics lecture he did about the 11 levels, realities, parallel realities, levels within the universe. So, it's understood, and in shamanic culture we have 11 levels of reality, and then 11 parallel levels. So that's the bailiwick of the shaman. Next week, as we look at this time from solstice, next Sunday, I guess, the 29th anyway, of December, is one of the last and most important events before New Year's. Now, it's already our Indigenous New Year's, but for everybody else on the planet, it's New Year's, or almost New Year's Eve. But it's still part. Okay, so we have a super moon on the 29th. I'm just ruffling through my notes here looking for my document on it to give you the correct information. So the 29th is a super full moon, and it's, I'm just looking for the time. I'll get that. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so it's at 10:28 p.m. That's so close to, last year we had a full moon on New Year's Eve, but this year it's the 29th. So it's also, I believe, a solar eclipse. Anyway, amethyst, lepidolite, the rainbow fluorite, those are the stones, if you have them, if you can find them, if you can get them before the stores close on Christmas Eve. By all means, get specimens of that to do a journey that takes you in this introspective time from the 21st till the 29th. So those are the stones that you can use. Have a journal, have ritual objects, make your bundles. That's all so very important at this time. It's really important to ritualize this, because ritual is a right brain process, and right brain processes allow for what the Chumash Indians call the imaginal senses. Things formulate, they bubble up from the subconscious during that time, and that's really, really important. I guess it's time to speak to these cards that I pulled, since we seem to have a little bit of time here. So I normally do a medicine wheel spread, but I didn't have the table space today to do the full spread, and I'm always amazed. I pulled 2 cards for the ancestors, 2 cards for Turtle Mother. I pulled cards for the positions of the wheel, and I used some different decks that I don't normally use. And the first card I got for tonight for solstice was the Heart of Sky. The Heart of Sky. That's from the Mystical Shaman deck. And it's so beautiful, I need to read it for you. The heart of sky is the love force that made all creation possible. This same force is present when you create with originality, when you bring formlessness to form, or inspired ideas into physical expression. The primeval force does not know good or bad. It is up to us to provide the clear intention that will guide it to manifest. The heart of sky helps us call in beauty from the invisible world and birth it in the world of matter. That's exactly shamanic principle at its core. The invitation that the heart of sky brings is a sacred reminder You are a channel for the original energy of creator or creation. Become the paintbrush, the canvas, and the artist, all guided by the heart of sky. Set your intention ethically and clearly, and allow the universe to take care of the details. The medicine that this card brings is you may feel responsible for everything and everyone. Perhaps you think you have to do it all alone. This takes you into a dark hole where you lose trust in the natural order of the cosmos. Shed your lofty sense of duty and recognize that this is a false prison of your own making. You can open the door and let yourself free in an instant. So, in other words, free yourself from the old paradigms and thought processes you thought you had about yourself, and co-create yourself anew with the universe. The second card, I almost spit on it. It's the sun. All right, the sun is what's coming back to us. It is enlightening. To enlighten is to bring an awareness. It is like the word inspiration, in spiritus, to bring the spirit in. We are bringing the light in, and that's exactly what this time is about. The other cards I pulled from Judith Pintar are North and Vision. Well, this is the north part of the wheel, and these stars are the ancestors, the ones I referred to in the pine tree from when Jude and I were small, out by Monkey's Bridge. I've always been taught that from the stars we were born and to the stars we shall return. And when you wish upon a star or any of those other euphemisms, you are actually calling in the ancestors, for we are made technically of stardust. It is that time. This is the ancestor card. And this is a card for the stone circle. This is remembering what they've brought us. Although this isn't Stonehenge, this is a medicine wheel, it's the same principle. Circles within circles, wheels within wheels, and the continuity of the creation. We make that with every breath we take, especially if we are in consciousness. I asked for the dotems, and good old spirit helper Beaver. This is how we are supposed to be. Minding our own business, doing our job, just plugging away at it. Dogged determination without complaint. So Beaver is a dotem of the southeast. And the other dotem is Moose, having the strength. Now Moose can be seen to run amok and just go thoughtlessly. They're not the brightest of animals, but they have a strength. We don't have to be Einstein to know where to go and what to do in this time of solstice. We just have to ask and know that these ancestors will provide us the information. I used the deck, the Rock Art deck, and I asked for the images from the Rock Art deck to get more information, different ancestral information from our ancient peoples who chose not to judge their art, that just to go ahead and get the notion out there. The first card that came up was Peacemaker of Intellect, beginner's mind and curiosity instead of fear. That's what this card is telling us. We are beginning anew with solstice. We are planting that seed, as I said before. So the peacemaker of intellect is calming our mind, knowing that we have control of our mind, breathing, doing the rituals, celebrating with family from the time of talks with relations, first moon cycle, and not letting our brain, our left brain, run amok with the things we are creating in the universe. The other card that came up out of Rock Art Tarot was the woman kind of intuition, and that's the same same card as this, as the Heart of Sky, just from a different indigenous cultural base. So just keep coming back to that, origins, beginnings. Wipe your slate clean. The last 2 cards I got for about healing, they're about, the first card was movement into balance, taking steps. That's Beaver. Beaver helps with that. Movement is progressive, and it's can be one of our objectives, just finding the balance and the peace. And the last card that I pulled was Ascension, and Ascension is about elevating our state of reality. The COVID vaccination isn't going to take hold overnight. We can't run out of the doctor's office having received that inoculation and jump on a plane. It's going to take time for the entire population to be dealt with. It's a 2-part vaccination. It's important that we honor those whose lives have been lost to this, and it's time to realize we've got time. We don't have to make a decision tomorrow about where we're going when this all ends. We just have to know that it will end, and we have all this ancestral support on our side. So I think we've come to the end of our gathering here. Any final words, Del?
Just, I'd like to say that I'm thankful for all the good things that's happened for this year. The people that are in my life that I love and enjoy their company and knowing them. And thankful that my health is still here and I still am thinking clearly and doing work in the community.
Awesome. And I would like to thank you for driving here today and being present with us. Brian, do you have any further comments before we close the circle?
Just on a technical note, if you enjoyed it, if you had difficulties in any way, if you have suggestions, please email us.
Or
Let
questions?
us know. Or if you have any questions about what we talked about, by all means, email. Okay? Wabus, Wujikabus, Shaunadeus, Waboon, Otter, Snake, Crow, Beaver, Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon, Father Sky, Turtle Mother Earth, all our relations, all our ancestors and Creator. We thank you once again for your having formed your circle on the Blue Road of Spirit, as we have formed this circle on the Red Road. We thank you for the wisdom and guidance that you have provided, and we look forward to the next opportunity we will have to once again form this circle and connect with you. Mire Dontawe in Amicamos, Mire Dontawe in Okamas, Jimigwich, Yahweh.
Yahweh. Be good to yourselves, my friends. Eat well, sleep well, be kind, and don't be afraid if you are alone. Reach out. We're here. There are lots of people that you can connect with. There's all kinds of organizations if you're feeling things are getting dire. But we're always here. We're getting old like that. And be good to yourselves. Jimmy Gwitch. Yahweh.